Express a deep congratulations to Nancy Pelosi, the best stock trader beating hedge funds in America the last 3 years. Might be available for a 5-minute interview.
Unfortunately, no.
We are looking to see advice. I mean, she's the best performing stock trader of America the last 3 years. We're kind of looking for financial advice, she's doing a tremendous job. It's almost like impeccable timing she has. Like,
there is no recording in this office.
Oh, sorry about that.
you know what's disrespectful is trading on the American inside information, which she's doing all the time. I mean, allegedly. They say that's disrespectful for filming. What I think is disrespectful is people that are using inside information to enrich themselves when they call themselves a public servant.
Do you have any thoughts on the Ukraine-Russia war?
Ukraine is good for business. You know that, right? We don't want the conflict to end.
Why?
We don't want the conflict to end as a country. The longer this goes on, the weaker Russia is. I'll give an example. Russia blows up Ukraine's grain silos. Price of wheat's gonna go mad up. So what are you gonna do if you're a trading firm? The moment that news hits, within a millisecond, you're gonna pump trades into whoever the wheat suppliers are, into their stocks. Within an hour or two, that stock goes up, and then you sell, and you just made, I don't know, however many mil.
Congratulations is in order to Representative Pat Fallon from Texas, who was late to report his 122 stock trades worth up to $21 million. But it's okay, folks. It got balanced out when he got a fine of $600 to correct the issue. Another congratulations to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who bought Chevron and Lockheed Martin conveniently right before the invasion of the Ukraine war was announced to the public. To give you an idea of how pervasive this behavior is in Congress, in a 2022 report, 131 members of Congress were responsible for $788 million in trades and more than 12,700 transactions. Which begs the question, how are full-time public servants able to dedicate so much of their time to stock trade?
These people are all funded, all these beautiful buildings, their salaries, all their little excursions and write-offs, and I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back, funded by the goddamn taxpayer.
What do average Americans think about this? Leading up to the DC trip, Keegan and I spent hours calling and emailing many members of Congress, including contacting all 100 senators multiple times. The only senator brave enough to be interviewed by a YouTuber was Mr. Ron Johnson.
It's Jonathan Wickman. We're with people right now that love America and want the best for America.
Absolutely.
I feel like we're missing that attitude a little bit.
People like you, Tommy, making documentaries like this to show the people the real truth about what's going on in our government.
Do you feel like there's a lot of dirty business in this building?
Of course. You have lobbyists that walk in and out of these offices all day long.
And we're here with Senator Ron Johnson.
Welcome to DC.
Good to see you. Let's see, my first question, Senator Johnson, is we're on a quest for truth right now. A lot of the American people are scared of the future and can't trust our government. What do you think about that?
Well, unfortunately, they're justified in their lack of trust of the federal government. The good news is that we're a great country because we have good people. Take a look at all the generals that work right now for the military-industrial complex, for Lockheed Martin and stuff. You don't think they didn't know that when they were recommending weapons programs?
That seems dirty to me.
That is the corruption. It literally is the revolving door of people that work in the executive branch, jumping from serving government into the big corporations, the big unions.
I was working for the Agriculture Committee and now I work for Monsanto. That kind of...
Yeah. So if you're doing that, are you going to write a piece of legislation that's going to really provide oversight over Monsanto? No, you're going to treat them with kid gloves. They got a big fat old job offer. You know, say, hey, well, can you get, before you come and work for us, can you get us this in here? Gets quietly inserted into 1,500 pages and nobody...
Do you believe that there's anything fishy about the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, certainly it's fishy. The cover-up of the list of individuals that visited Epstein Island
doesn't that seem crazy?
Is pretty fishy. I will say, I think this is true, is mainly people of the left that Jeffrey Epstein was courting and that took advantage of his island pleasures.
Don't you feel like anyone that's on that list should be looked into?
Well, I think we should have a full investigation of Jeffrey Epstein and his activities.
Does it feel like it's been kind of brushed under the rug?
Yes, because it has been.
Let's see what everyday Americans and Washington, D.C. political insiders have to say about this.
Do you think Jeffrey Epstein himself?
I do not. Who the hell is Jeffrey Epstein?
No. Hell no. They killed him. He had too much dirt on too many higher ups.
I would say I have not done enough research to be able to answer that question.
Do you find his death suspicious?
Yeah, I definitely think there is suspicion there.
It's tough to say. It's pretty suspicious.
Do you think Jeffrey Epstein himself?
Oh, wow. That was.
Let's go.
Let's go to the on the brand question.
Especially Clinton. 23 times visiting the island. It's like.
I'm gonna go back to the on the brand
Okay.
question now.
This will be the last question. Do you think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
That's not really an issue we focus on, you know. There's no like official crew position on anything like that, so
Okay.
we're not gonna comment on that. No one in crew was ever going to file a complaint without a lawyer being like having like at least 5 different lawyers looking at it.
I think he should have said his pronouns.
No, I mean, it's all ridiculous. If you want to live your life one way, fine. I mean, that's what America represents, freedom. But don't impose your beliefs or the way you want to behave on somebody else.
What's the biggest threat to America right now?
I think divisiveness. Those individuals that are just fomenting hate, that are exacerbating the divide rather than trying to heal this nation.
Federal election. Who do you think's a remarkable character in the story?
One interesting candidacy is Bobby Kennedy. I've gotten to know Bobby. We certainly share a lot of views in terms of what we did during the pandemic.
Do you think JFK was taken out by our own government?
I just recommend people read the JFK and the Unspeakable.
Possible that our own intelligence agencies had a hand in his death.
I think it's certainly possible, yeah. The American public deserve the truth and we haven't gotten it.
Okay, so if our own intelligence agencies are having a hand in taking out our presidents, should we trust our intelligence agencies? Do they have our best interests at heart?
I don't trust them. I've seen our own federal law enforcement act corruptly. They knew that Hunter Biden's laptop was genuine. And I've seen it being covered up by a complicit plea to young people to jealously guard your freedom.
There's some people that are under the impression that the Illuminati control the country. Is that nonsense or what's going on there?
So in 1910, 6 individuals representing 1/4 of the wealth of the world boarded a train to go down to Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia to set up a cartel they call the Central Bank, the Federal Reserve. But I do believe there's a small group of individuals that exert a great deal of influence on global politics. I think that's just true.
So I called my bank, and when I called them, I asked for $250,000. They said to me, well, we're probably gonna need for anything over $20,000 to make an order, which will take about 3.5 to 4 weeks to arrive. Then we're gonna need an armed guard that's gonna meet you, walk you to your car, and make sure that you drive away with the money. So then I said, look, I need just $250,000 and it's not that much money. And the bank pretty much told me, Ben, it might not be a lot of money for you, but it's a lot of money. It took about 5 weeks, and that's why we delayed this podcast, for me to receive $160,000. That's all they were able to scrap. That's a bunch of bullshit. That means that I have money in the bank that doesn't exist. And then I come to find out that only 3 to 5% of the money in the economy is physical money. The rest of it was digital money. So going decentralized and into crypto and Bitcoin, that's something that brings the power back to the people.
Money alone, there was over $1 billion of dark money spent in our election. But prior to Citizens United, there had never been $1 billion spent cumulatively on our elections. This is like an arms race, and the people being hurt the most are just everyday Americans who want government to work and to do shit. Dark money literally just means undisclosed money. So you can't tell exactly who's trying to influence our elections or our policy decisions.
Doesn't that seem fishy?
Oh, it's so fishy.